From time to time, we all experience a bit of burnout or need a little change. We may feel sluggish and unmotivated. Our daily routine feels repetitive and dull. However, improving your life by adopting minimalism can help you accomplish optimum energy levels and achieve the things you desire. Minimalism is the act of stripping down your possessions to focus on what's essential in life. At the heart of minimalism is a desire to declutter and simplify your life, getting rid of all the excess clutter that distracts us from what truly matters. Number 10. Store out-of-season clothes. If you're like most people, you probably own more clothes than you'll ever need. That's because we buy new clothes when our old clothes get worn or when they go out of style. If we could just stop buying brand new clothes and store the old ones instead, it would save us a ton of money and time spent shopping. But how do you store clothes without taking up too much space? And what if they smell funky? The key is knowing how to store out-of-season clothes without ruining them or taking up too much space. For instance, use hangers that have clips on them so they can be hung on hooks rather than shelves or closets. Also, place each item in an airtight bag before putting it in storage so it doesn't get musty or moldy over time from being exposed to air all day long, every single day, for weeks or months at a time. This helps keep the odor down too. Get creative with where you put things inside your closet or storage space, like hanging bags from hooks on the wall or placing boxes underneath racks or shelves above them. Number 9. Declutter your home as the season changes. Decluttering your home as the season changes is a straightforward way to improve your life and save money. When the seasons change, so do our lifestyles. We start wearing less clothes and more layers, we tend to eat more soup and stew, and we may even start cooking with certain ingredients we would never have considered before. Think pumpkin spice lattes. But this isn't just about seasonal comfort. It's about taking advantage of what your new environment has to offer. If you're in a warmer climate, try growing fresh herbs on your windowsill or patio. If you live where it gets cold, invest in some cozy blankets and bookshelves. It doesn't matter what kind of weather you have in your area, you can make use of it by decluttering your home. When it comes to decluttering your home, timing is everything. The best time to do it is right after the holidays are over. When you're done celebrating with friends and family, take some time off from socializing so that you can focus on yourself without distractions. You should also make sure that no one else is around while you're doing this, because they'll likely try talking you out of it. And trust me, they will. Number 8. Create a maybe pile. Creating a maybe pile of clothes and things that you own is an easy way to declutter your life. But what is a maybe pile? It's basically a container where you put all items that are in question. If you're unsure whether or not you need something, place it in the maybe pile. If you're not sure if an item will fit with your style or preferences anymore, put it in the maybe pile. If you're not sure if something is worth keeping or has value for resale or recycling, put it in the maybe pile. The idea is to have one place where everything goes until you decide whether or not it should stay or go. Why does creating a maybe pile help you improve your life? A lot of people accumulate stuff throughout their lives without really thinking about whether or not they need everything they've got. And this can lead to clutter and overwhelm, which can make us feel stressed out all the time. By taking some time to sort through our belongings and deciding which ones are truly worth keeping or not, we can curtail clutter stress and, of course, have a quality life. Number 7. Make use of temptation bundling. Temptation bundling is a technique that helps you save money and improve your life by tying together two things you want to do but don't want to do at the same time. For example, say you want to go for a run every morning, but you also want to watch Netflix until your eyeballs fall out. You could create an incentive for yourself that makes it so that the only way you can watch Netflix is if you go for a run first. Or say you want to eat healthily and cook more, but it seems like such a chore. You could get rid of all the junk food in your house, or make it inaccessible, and only eat healthy food when you're cooking it up, which might even make cooking more fun. Number 6. Train your brain into thinking the same is okay. When we're young, we're told to try new things. But as we get older, we learn to be more conservative and stick with what works. We think that if something isn't broken, it's not worth fixing. But what if your boring routine is actually costing you money? One way to break free of this cycle is by training yourself to do the same thing over and over, and loving it. Doing something repeatedly doesn't have to be boring when it feels like a reward or a challenge. Instead of thinking about how much time you've spent doing something, think about how much you want to keep going. If you find yourself stopping at the same place every day for coffee, or getting out of bed at the same time every morning, Try changing things up by going somewhere else or waking up earlier than usual. The next time you're tempted to spend money on something new, ask yourself, what would happen if I spent this money on an experience instead? Number 5. Make daily tasks easier or more useful. We all have chores and tasks that come up every day, and they can be frustrating. There are so many hacks out there to make your daily routine less of a chore. For instance, you can store your keys in a jar. Instead of searching frantically for your keys when you need to leave the house, put them in a jar by the door. This way, they're always easily within reach, and you won't have to waste time looking for them every time you need to go somewhere. Also, never underestimate the magic of creating lists. If you have trouble remembering things, write them down so they don't slip out of your mind. This is especially helpful if you're busy at work or school and don't have time to keep track of everything yourself. Moreover, use a timer. If you're cooking something on the stove or baking bread in the oven without one, set your phone or watch timer instead, so that it goes off when it's done cooking instead of leaving it unattended until it burns down in flames. Number 4. Declutter based on what you want to keep, not what you want to get rid of. Your home is a reflection of who you are. It's the place where you can relax, unwind, and let your hair down. You want it to be a haven for you, not a source of stress. But when your house is cramped with clutter and disorganization, it can make even the most loving home feel alienating. If this sounds like your house, then you should consider decluttering, but not because you're trying to get rid of things or because someone else thinks you have too many possessions. Instead, declutter based on what you want to keep. Decluttering means making room in your life so that the things that matter the most have room to breathe. Decluttering isn't just about getting rid of stuff. It's about keeping only those items that are meaningful enough to warrant space in your home or office. If an item doesn't hold meaning for you anymore, if it no longer serves a purpose or provides joy, then why keep it around? Letting go of these objects will free up space for other things. New memories with loved ones, new opportunities at work or school, or even just more room for yourself. Number 3. Grab something as you move through the house. The more we move, the more we need to grab things along the way, whether it's a cup of coffee or a pile of clothes to put away. Moving from room to room can be an opportunity for us to pick up anything that's lying around and put it in its proper place. It's easy for us to get distracted by all the other things vying for our attention, but if we're going from one room to another, there's no reason why we shouldn't just grab anything as we walk by it. In fact, if you grab everything as you go, you'll end up saving yourself time later on. Number 2. Place objects you need to move to another part of the house in a designated space. Sometimes, it's hard to keep track of the things you need to move around your home. When you're in the middle of doing something else, it's easy to forget where you put your keys or where that extra blanket is. But when you put everything in a designated place, it becomes much easier to find what you need. For example, if there's a specific spot where everyone puts their keys at night before going to sleep, then everyone can just look for them there instead of having to search all over the house for them. If everyone knows where the extra blankets are kept during cold weather months, then they won't need to go looking through every closet and cabinet in order to find one when they get cold at night. By putting objects in designated places, we make it easier on ourselves because we don't have to keep track of small items like these every day or every time we want to use them. All we have to do is go back to where we know they'll be waiting for us. If you enjoyed it so far, please like this video and leave a comment. What is your best way to save money? Number 1. Reduce task switching. Reducing task switching is a must because it has a negative impact on your productivity. According to a study conducted by Stanford University, people who switch between tasks have a harder time focusing than people who complete one task before moving on to another. The reason for this is that when you switch between tasks, your brain has to reorient itself to the new task at hand before getting started. This means that whenever you're switching between tasks, you're actually losing time by not being able to focus on anything for very long. And that's bad news for your productivity. In addition to negatively impacting your focus and attention span though, task switching can also make it more difficult to remember what you were doing in the first place. This is because when we switch from one thing to another, our brains are forced into short-term mode. Instead of trying to remember where we left off with the original project or task at hand, which would be considered long-term memory, our brains have only enough space in their short-term memory banks for us to recall what's happening right now.